I want to play this clip of Mookie Betts before I talk to Dallas Braden. So, Mike, roll the clip of Mookie talking about the fans.
What happened with that fan, that foul ball?
It's irrelevant. We lost. It doesn't matter.
Mookie, just how is that man feeling? Because it kind of looked like, from our perspective, that your wrist kind of went a little bit back.
No, I didn't even know he grabbed my hand, so no, it's perfectly fine.
Was that about as aggressive as you've seen fans in all your time in the game?
When it comes to the person in play, it doesn't matter. We lost. It's irrelevant. I'm fine. He's fine. Everything's cool. We lost the game, and that's what I'm kind of focused on.
I love this guy. What an awesome dude. I already really liked Mookie Betts. I love everything about him. I like that he's this incredible athlete who can just do anything. I love that he's just like, hey, what are you doing with your downtime? Bowling. He's just outrageously talented. He's been one of the best players in this World Series. You know, he just makes defensive plays, these incredible reads. He's so likable. He seems funny. God, I love Mookie Betts. So anyways, Dallas Braden, former big leaguer and host of the Baseball is Dead podcast, joins me now. What's up, brother? How we doing?
I'm doing well, Jay. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Is there a player in baseball cooler than Mookie Betts?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
But I can respect your perspective, especially after last night when there was, as you just sort of laid out, there was definitely a pathway for this to get a lot uglier and be a much bigger thing than it had become, than it has become even this morning, I think. Yeah. And that's something that we talked about on my podcast last night was the multitude of perspectives here, but really how none of them initially were ones that were really focused on, and I think it's because it's a hypothetical, but I legitimately have a tweet crafted out right now and the phone rang, just sort of highlighting the article that was written about these individuals and their stance, and these individuals meaning the Yankee fans, and the fact that when you read the words that were written, one, that Yankee fan, those fans, they were celebrated by the author of that article. And I don't know if that's the route that I would have taken. Probably not, to be honest. But you have these guys saying, well, we've talked about this. We've prepared for this. You know, like it sounded like Jack Nicholson on like A Few Good Men. You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall.
They were on that wall,
buddy. Calm down.
Yeah,
you're not a rostered team member, right? You're a fan, and that's what I want folks to really like take away from this is fans. And I think baseball fans know how I feel about them. You're the lifeblood of Major League Baseball. You are the very reason Major League Baseball decides to get up in the morning and drink its coffee and head on out the door and go to work, or it should be that way. Anyway, maybe it doesn't always feel that way. But the idea is, what do you do if Mookie breaks his wrist?
Yeah, of course.
Right? And now the fan that we just called a Butte, how does he feel about being sued by Mookie Betts and the Dodgers in pursuit of losses and damages? And like, now how are we doing?
Yeah.
Now how's that whole idea of plotting this out since you were 7 feeling? How is that working out?
Yeah.
But the idea that they are going to be allowed back into the stadium today, like it's all good.
I'm
Come
good
on
with
back,
that.
boys. No problem.
Yeah. I'm okay with them going back in just because I just am a believer in like forgiveness in general, where I'm like, yeah, you screwed up, and you're like, the message has to be like, don't do anything. You got to be on your best behavior. Like, I honestly would be more comfortable being like, hey, you can't serve them a beer, like something along those lines. Like, these guys are, hey, maybe they can't sit in those seats would be probably a little bit more appropriate. Like, hey, you can't be around the game. That's troubling that they were like, we planned for this. That's a little weird. Maybe they were caught up in the moment of that. But yeah, I did the what if he got hurt game too. Like, that was the first thought I had when he went in there. And like, I have it in text with multiple friends. I was like, man, what if they would have hurt Mookie Betts? Like, that's crazy. But he is okay. And like, I think now when we're moving past it, it's like, yeah, okay, those fans are clearly brain dead guys who are going to enjoy their 5 minutes. But there is just a small part of me where it's like, it's only Yankees fans that would do that. And the like scumbag Yankee persona that they have there of just like, this is who we are and this is what we do, like prying out of the glove. It's both one of the more, unacceptable fan behavior things that I've seen, but also like, it's funny. Come on. Like, it's also funny.
No, I've always talked about how like I had an experience in Yankee Stadium as a young player where, I'm throwing a bullpen and it's the same group of kids who have watched me throw a bullpen and were yelling at me, just defiling me.
Yeah, of course.
And then I get out to BP and it's the same kids and they're yelling at me, but now it's changed, right? Braden, you're my favorite player. We love you. We love you. And give them a ball. And as soon as they got the ball, they turn around. Hey, F you, Braden. You're terrible. You suck. Give up. And it's like, you're 7. What are you? You're 7. But you're like, you know what? You know that little fella's rite of passage probably just occurred, right? He got sit down by his uncles and his friend, and go tell that player to go screw himself.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll throw you a ball, huh, kid? and then it happens, and now you've got a Yankee moron fan for life.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing is I actually feel like there was a little bit of here's the reason why I kind of like it, okay? And again, I don't like the act, but I'm just like now that he's okay, I feel like we can do this kind of stuff. I just sort of thought that Yankees fans, it was a little bit of bloom off the rose. Sports are getting more and more corporatized, like it does feel like the fan experience. You see stuff like in Europe, for example, with soccer. People love sending me this stuff. Or basketball. I saw a clip that went around the other day of basketball in a European stadium versus what it's like at a Lakers game right now. And it's just so drastically different that I'm like, God, it would be so... Yeah, it's so cool to see that stuff, to see people care that way. And the Yankees have been, I don't want to say irrelevant. They've obviously been relevant. But yeah, they have this long drought. They haven't been around it, and some of the younger Yankees fans, you wonder what their connection is to winning and their feeling of like them being the Bronx annoying fan. It felt like cosplay at times when you see those fans where you're like, wait, are you playing what you think a Yankees fan is supposed to be? Or are you a Yankees fan? And so to see those guys do that and have this moment where they're like, again, prying the ball out of the glove, psychotic. I was like, Yankees fans are back. We get to hate Yankees fans. All of us get to hate them. They get to be their own mutant entity. And it just felt like a good... I hate saying this because it wasn't good for baseball. Like, fans doing that is not good for baseball. But hating Yankees fans is good for baseball. And now we're back. Like, we're fully back. That's good. Baseball isn't dead.
Yankees fans, these Yankees fans these days feel like baby rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
And what I mean is they're very young, they're juvenile, they're inexperienced, but they're dangerous when they get together because they don't know how to control the venom, right? It's an early fly ball down the line in foul territory, and these guys are assaulting the outfielder. Like that might be a time where you just stick a hand over the rail, and then you leave it alone. I don't know that we're actually trying to deflesh Mookie Betts, which is exactly what that entire incident looked like. I said, my wife and I had our third child probably with less contact than occurred out there with Mookie Betts and those fans.
Just like, man, we all have those moments, right, where something happens and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, right? Like, what was I thinking? But it's like putting your hands in the glove. Like, that is just beyond.
Well, in the glove, you're prying the glove open, right? And that's why, like, the whole Mookie, I didn't even know what. Mookie,
he knew.
You didn't know you were being grabbed by two dudes hanging over the side of the wall and your glove was being pried open. You didn't have a feel for that move?
No, but that's why he's the man, is like he didn't give them anything extra. Like, and he didn't give anybody just a big quote that's going to be splashed across the newspaper, or like I guess a tweet makes more sense than a newspaper. But yeah, he didn't give him any oxygen. Like, he just kind of put the fire out and didn't let the team get focused on it. And I just like that. He just was like, it just felt like a winner move to me, to be like, no, we lost. It sucks. We lost. That's the only story here.
And from that perspective, that I think is something that should be applauded, is how he has been able to, in a very small amount of time, take what was going to be bulletin board material, essentially, should he have a quote that had any sort of hair on it. And instead, Mookie said, we lost. That's all I care about. We'll see you tomorrow. And I think it's easier to say that, too, when you're up 3-1, knowing that a lot of the pressure is still on the New York Yankees. It's still on Gerrit Cole, his biggest start of his career. I think that is easily done for Mookie, but that is where the focus is now, is will this Yankee team be able to back up the outing that Gerrit Cole is supposed to have, that they want him to have? Can they support him offensively the way they broke out last night? So that's going to be the biggest question tonight. Is I've sort of categorized this postseason run for anybody as who can count to 15 first? Who can get 15 outs from their starting pitcher first. Because if you can get 15 outs from your guy, you're probably in a better spot than the other guy if you're getting those outs first, meaning the other team. So if Gerrit Cole can get through 5 solid innings where the Dodgers haven't been able to create any sort of momentum, then I think the New York Yankees have a chance to walk away the victor. I do think this game gets handled or decided late, however, maybe outside of Gerrit Cole's performance. So for a bullpen who has been relied upon and has been sturdy at times and has wavered at times, this is going to be a really big ball game because either way you slice it, I feel like it's going to be leverage arms that are going to get action.
So you only need 5 from Cole. I just had Girardi on. He said he needed 6. I went even further. I was like, I think you need 7.
Oh no, I'm saying what I'm saying is you absolutely need. That's why I call it the biggest start of Gerrit Cole's career.
Yeah,
is because you need from Gerrit Cole
like bare minimum 5.
You saw. Oh yeah, what you saw, and I said this for Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty, he needs to dial up that start that he had in the first game of the NLCS, where it was 7 shut, 2 hits or whatever it was, just a dominant performance. So this is what you're looking for from Gerrit Cole as a Yankee fan. This is why Gerrit Cole got the paycheck, which is why this is Gerrit Cole's biggest start of his career, right? It's one thing to be pitching in a situation where your team is still going to have a game to play tomorrow, whether you win or lose this game. But for Gerrit Cole right now, that is not the case. For the Yankees, that is not the case. If he gets lit up, they're going home. If he gets touched, they're going to Cancun. It's a done deal. So you have got to win this ball game, and there is no other answer other than I'm fine, give me the ball that you want to hear from Gerrit Cole.
I got to tell you, and maybe this is a casual take, I sort of thought that the Yankees would at least consider throwing him out there for the last game, for Game 4. Like, I know that you got to try. Yeah, I want to ask you about
JD,
this.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Why?
No, you cannot do that. I mean, you if we are not in the position that we're in now, like first of all, you're going to run them out there on short rest, right?
Yep.
So if you're running them out there on short rest, you have already sort of understood and conceded the fact that you're probably willing to go get him earlier than you would like to. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's on short rest. So now every reason that you're putting him out there is ultimately every reason you're going to be cautious and you're going to be watching him like a hawk. So do you want to be watching Gerrit Cole with bated breath and handling him with kid gloves, or do you want to be able to wake up and go pedal to the metal? Gerrit Cole's going to throw 120 pitches tonight, and I don't give a damn how many innings it takes.
Yeah, I just thought it would have been a weird feeling had the Yankees got swept and we didn't see Gerrit Cole again. You know, like it's short rest for sure, but I just given what they've got there, when Heel gave up the bomb in the first inning, I was like, yeah. And his whole thing is he just walks so many guys. And I thought that the Dodgers, with their approach at the plate, that they would have just been able to, I just didn't like the matchup. So good for the Yankees that they end up here. But yeah, it was definitely something that crossed my mind. And that's why I did want to bring it up with you, because I want to be like, hey, what are the challenges? Because here's the other one too. Like, you give me the actual pitcher's perspective of this. I kind of feel like both these teams, well, not the Yankees as much yesterday, where they were like, yeah, we're going to ask Weaver for 7 outs. I was like, damn, and pitch him tomorrow? All right. But kind of felt like Roberts, especially, being a little too precious with the bullpen. Like, he knows these guys and what they're going through better than anybody. Like, I'm sure if he says Trina needs the day off, that Trina needed the day off. And the last we saw him, he didn't look great closing that final game. But yeah, I hate the idea of being in a 2-run ball game and throwing Honeywell out there and letting the Yankees just tee off of him for an inning. I hated leaving Hudson in when he was there. And I know the strategy worked for them against the Mets, but I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm curious, how hard it is on these guys.
Yeah, let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's go back, JD. So we're was it a 2-run lead or was it a 3-run lead? I believe it was a 3-run lead after the Volpe grand slam, right? It was tie ball game, or excuse me, 2-1.
I think it was 2-1 and then he went up. Slam. Yeah. But I hated that he didn't give Hudson the hook.
Well, no. So here's the question, and this is what I posed on the podcast: is there a number that Dave Roberts and the staff have in mind that says this is the cutoff? Meaning, if that was a 3-run homer and they're only down by 2, is that a difference in the decision for Dave Roberts on who goes out there and how long that individual goes out there? Because I think it's easy to say in hindsight that Dave Roberts didn't attack with the bullpen. What you got, though, was and tongue-in-cheek here, you got a Honeywellian-type performance out of Landon Knack this time around, right? Remember, it was the performance from Brent Honeywell in the DS that they said, this is probably the outing that won Game 6 for us tomorrow, was how Honeywell pitched in Game 5 of the DS to not have to utilize any more of those arms in the bullpen. So Nat comes in and gives you 4 solid innings of just 1 run allowed, and ultimately the game is still within striking distance at that point. And I think, to your point, when Honeywell gets tabbed and then starts to get touched up and they start to put runs on the board, there really wasn't an effort to say, we need to stop this. It was sort of like we're just going to let this snowball build. And I think it's because what you got out of Knack was almost house money. Like, oh, wow, we didn't expect this, but we got it. So now what do we do? Well, we're not going to go to our plus side guys. It's not going to be Blake Trinan for 6 outs down by 2 or 3. That's not going to be the case.
Agree with that.
And I think that's exactly where the conversation was, is if this is something that is closer and maybe we're within a run or so, maybe I am going to one of those plus side guys to see if I can scratch a run out within 2 or within 6 outs. And if we do, then Blake Trinan will throw until the last out is made.
Yeah. To me, I'm nitpicking with a guy who's already got a World Series and who made it work in the last round. So I'll wear this, but I just thought when Hudson was out there, he couldn't throw strikes. Like, he was really struggling with location. Then he gets this miracle out, right? The pop-up that gives them a shot against Volpe. And I'm going
away.
Yeah.
1 pitch away.
Yeah, I know, but that's it. It's like, I just thought that's the spot where you're looking at a guy who's already loaded up the bases and you've already got Knack who's warmed up. And I'm like, just get him out there. Like, it's 1 extra out. I want to see the fresh guy come in here who isn't all over the place. That one drove me crazy. And then Honeywell to me is just, he's not, like, when he came in there, I texted everybody. I was like, this is the white flag. Like, they just threw in the towel. He's giving up a run here. This is not going to be a 2-run ball game. And that's what ended up happening. I don't need Trinan in that spot. I just needed somebody that wasn't the guy that the Dodgers were bragging about, who's throwing live BP to their players and getting them back on track. I needed a little bit more care of, hey, it's 2 runs. We're the Dodgers. We can get right back in this thing.
Yeah, no, and I think that is something that a lot of folks are having that conversation about today, which is why I really wanted to sort of pose that framework and just sort of enlighten fans that those are conversations that are happening, where if we're up by X in this situation, these are the guys we're going to. If we're down by Y in this situation, these are the guys we're going to. And those are, I know in a vacuum, it seems like it's crazy decision-making, and it's like, why aren't you reading the tea leaves? It's right there in front of you. This is all part of guys sticking to an approach. And as baseball players, you hear it so often, right? Stay with the game plan and don't waver, because if I start to get off track, everything that I've committed to and everything that I've built, I just sort of throw away and I decommit to in a flash, and I can't do that. If I stay the course, I know what's at the end. And I think that has to be part of the decision-making, even in this moment where you're still counting baseball games that you have left now on one hand. And you have to say, well, you know what? If I find myself chasing this game right now and we get out to a lead and it's late and I've got a couple guys I'd like to go to, but I burned them yesterday chasing a W that wasn't there for us. What am I doing today? Now I'm compromising my opportunity to win a ball game tomorrow by chasing this W today. Is Gerrit Cole going for us on short rest, or do I want a healthy Gerrit Cole going pedal to the metal?
So if I'm going to put this as legendary, not best, because it's hard to decide, like, okay, well, what is Strasburg, like a pitcher in 2019? Is this more impressive, or a shortstop playing defense, or what's the value? But like most legendary World Series performance, does Freddie Freeman need to do anything else? I'm sorry, I'm discounting George Springer because that one just it's asterisk, man. Like, it just is. I'm sorry, George. I know you play here now, but it is. Is this the most legendary World Series performance in your opinion since Mad Bum by Freddie Freeman?
Well, and I'm glad you said since Mad Bum. But I think when you start to really factor in what Freddie has gone through in terms of the injury. And I know, and we were talking about it again on the podcast, and our buddy Joe said, hey, well, it's been about a month. It's been about a month since the ankle injury. And I said, well, 4 to 6 weeks is the tentative prognosis to get back to like doing baseball activity and maybe get back into a position where you can do some rehab games and stuff like that. But 4 to 6 weeks to be back in game action, playing at the elite level that he's playing at, that's not the prognosis. So he has been walking around out there in a major league postseason with one leg and has been carrying this offense with one leg, on one ankle, on one foot. This dude has been doing absolute damage. 7 World Series games in a row, dating back to last year with a homer or with the Braves. I mean, like, it feels like it doesn't stop with Freddie Freeman. So for him to play the defense that he's played, for him to beat out the ground ball yesterday that was underrated. What was it, the third inning?
That was underrated, man. They didn't talk enough about that.
That's huge. That brings the game with. I mean, I was losing my mind watching that game, going, "This is what the I'm talking about." Excuse my language. This is what the like, Freddie, come on. Like, geez, man, this is what we need to see, and Freddie did it. And that, like, just that example you're putting out there to rile up the boys, like that right there. Those are the things that go undetected, I think, and that, like you said, maybe something that wasn't really highlighted. But my God, everybody in that clubhouse feels it.
Dude, he's 35 years old, and you hurt his ankle a month ago. It's just like, you think he's fine? Like, you're to your buddy Joe, like, sorry, dude, he's not. He's hurt. That ankle, when he was like getting to the clubhouse last night after he gutted it out like that, it was not pretty. He was not like, oh yeah, I feel totally normal. I feel totally fine. Now, to me, like, again, Mad Bum is Mad Bum. It's just a different thing. Like, it's just, that's never, I just can't imagine what someone would have to do for that to be touched. But to me, this is now number 2 since then. Like, this jumps over everybody else. I probably, like, it's funny. I remember the Steve Pearce one so much because the Jays traded him that year and he was just unreal. And I went, what the hell, Steve Pearce? Like, this is who you are. He's just digging every baseball out and, like, he's coming up with huge hits. And I was like, this is the greatest player who ever lived. What happened here? So that one will always be kind of like a extra special one. The Springer one was it for me in terms of what I would have listed until the old asterisk, the Astros asterisk. But yeah, this one to me is like, man, I'm going to remember this till the day I die. Like, Freddie Freeman. And I swear, him running down to first like that is one of the memories that I will have just as much as the home runs, knowing that he was like, yes, pushing it that hard to beat out a double play. I was just like, God, this guy rules. The thing with his dad, like, all of it is just, it's impossible not to love this guy, like, deeply. If you're a Yankees fan and you did the F.U. Freddie Freeman chant, like, that was actually too far. That was the egregious act, not the prying of Mookie's glove. Yeah.
Yeah, not trying to sever Mookie's arm, but not giving Freddie the love.
Yes.
That's unacceptable.
I agree. That's the way I feel about it, man. Nobody convinced me otherwise. Dallas, you're the man. Thanks so much for doing this. Again, love the podcast. Baseball is dead. They're crushing it every single game. Love the passion that you bring, buddy. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Anytime, man. Anytime. More than happy to rap with you, JD. Take it easy, brother.
See you, buddy. Dallas Braden, former big leaguer. And again, Baseball is Dead podcast.